So without further ado, I am so honored to have her, somebody of my namesake, and best of all, someone I'm honored to call friend. Welcome, Patti.
Hi, Patty. How are you?
I am good. This is so good to have you. What I get every day is, I work with people. It's about love. It's about love. How to find love. Where do we find love? Career, yeah, whatever. Health, yeah, whatever. Family, yeah, whatever. It's all about love. So I know you are a third generation matchmaker. Were you? What is your story a little bit? Were you on the schoolyard putting little kids together as a kid, or?
But my mom and my grandmother were matchmakers, and I'm third generation. So they did it for the temple in New Jersey. My mom was probably the first divorce in the 60s in the neighborhood. And at that time, it was Mrs. Maisel time. You didn't get divorced and you were shamed for it. Can you imagine? No. And so her husband cheated. She went back home with me. My grandmother was like, I got to get you married again, because she had gotten her married on the first one. And so she trained her, taught her how to hunt and fish, find her prey. She was married probably a year later, really fast, by the way. In those days, they went fast. They wanted sex, so they had to go fast. Today, you can have... And, thus it was written. But in high school, I fixed up my best friend and she ended up getting married. So the story is written. I never dreamed of being a matchmaker. It's just innate. It's kind of like breathing. I just know what I'm doing. That's all. Yeah. It's a knowing from another life, probably.
It's a knowing. And I know from personal experience and friendship, you yourself are an intuitive. You're very magical. You're very witchy in your own right. How much magic is involved in matchmaking?
Probably 90%. I mean, it's not so much like I do rituals. It's more about reading the energy of the person and then teaching them, the abundance of love, like law of attraction, doing rituals, meditation, hypnotherapy, things subliminals are my favorite thing, to change their mindset. So if you're going to do a ritual as a witch, like I used to be a Wiccan, I was a solitaire, I wasn't in a coven. And I did daily practice every day. And I needed to get in nature. I needed to feel the elements. I lived on the ocean. I would talk to Oshun and Yamaye and, bring in the elements. And I did all those watermelon rituals. Do you know about the watermelon ritual?
No, I don't. Tell me.
Open. And if you really want true love, you go to the ocean or the river and you put in lots of fruit. You have to taste the honey because Oshun was poisoned, as we know. So Oshun is like the goddess of love in the Santeria tradition of magic. And you put in all the fruit and all the fun, and she likes jewelry. So you put in some earrings, some glitter, whatever. You make it pretty. You put a little sailboat on top, and you send it out to the ocean with a prayer. And if she takes it, you won't see the watermelon. The wave will take it away. If she doesn't take it, you did something wrong. And a lot of times you put pennies in. You can look up the spell online. It's very standard. So I did a lot of watermelons. And I had the best sex of my life in Miami. So something worked.
Something worked.
LA is a totally different story because I'm going to. They should know that I go to you. That's how I found you on YouTube when you did Lord DYI's video.
Yep.
Wanted to do the spirit box to bring in, my mom and to learn about love and what I was blocked on. And I go to you as a ritual because right now I'm single and I'm trying to manifest love in Los Angeles. So I need all the magical help I can get.
And he is on his way. I know that wholeheartedly. Sometimes I might have to shake you up and down. And now I know about the watermelon. Go do your watermelon.
I learned everything from you. Dragon energy, which I never knew. Catnip energy, which we do at the door. My little ritual every night, writing in my book and lighting my candles. And I was a big candle magic person. I went to every apocryphy you could ever imagine. I knew all the witches on the street, some good, some bad. There's a lot of bad ones, people.
Yep.
They will control you. I worked for a very famous witch back in the day. I was her assistant. She was a psychic witch, but she was a dark witch, and she put me in Dominion. So I understand Dominion. I understand. And you think there's it's not cursing. It's more like their energy's inside your energy, and they're going to take your essence. So they're like succubuses. Yeah. You have to be come around you. So I learned about that when I was in my 20s. And it was a really dark time for me. So I needed to go to the light. When I got out of that terrible relationship, she sexually came on to me. She was so Me Too before Me Too even happened.
Wow.
She was bisexual. using her power against me. And I was very young. I was like 25. So when I left, I said, I'm never doing anything magical again. This was the worst experience of my life. She pretended to curse my parents. She did a lot of shit. And my mom is the baddest witch on the street. Never underestimate the power of a Jewish witch, because they will kibosh you. My mother's like, she owed me money. She's like, here's how it's going to work. I don't give a shit about your rituals. If you don't give my daughter back what you owe her, I'm calling the IRS because she never paid her bill. She never paid her taxes. That's how a Jewish witch operates. They sue, and they get even. But when I left, I said, I'm never getting back into metaphysics again. And then I met my white witch, who was my healing teacher, Louise. She died many years later, and she taught me the right way. So there's a good way and a bad way, especially if you're a solitaire, and if you're in a coven, it's even harder because they get jealous.
Right. Well, as soon as you get a group of people, you get politics involved. It's so hard not to, whether it's religion or coven or it's a group or it's the book club. I mean, I swear to God, if you're in a book club, politics get involved. But yeah, with solitaire, you're minding your own. You don't have the bounce off energy, good or bad. Yeah.
I did it when I was with, I will say the bad witch. She was a solitaire that controlled a lot of little Nubians underneath her. The time was Ghost. The movie came out, Ghost. She took us to Ghost and said, if you don't do what I tell you to do, you're going to end up like the demons that go down there. And at the time, you're so terrified. I went to Magick. There was the most famous magic store in the country. It was called Magical Child. It was in New York City. I don't know if you know this.
I've heard of it. I haven't. Yeah.
Right. So Magical Child was this huge, and if you wanted to get in a coven, you'd go to the head guy and you'd say, I want to be in a coven. He'd be like, come back. It was like being like that scene in Sex and the City when she wants to be Jewish, Charlotte, and the rabbi closes the door 3 times. It's very similar. Finally, she gave me her number, and I was, delegated, but there was no internet. You couldn't check someone out, see if there's any complaints or anything. So you didn't know. And she was famous. She did Johnny Carson, Amon, so many A-listers that I met through her. So I didn't know any better. You really need to protect yourself. And then I learned about Deanne Fortune in her book, which was psychic protection. And I did a lot of stuff to protect myself.
Right. Yeah. Right. And again, we have a lot of young people just discovering their path here listening. You got anybody who tries to control you, anybody who's fear-based, walk away. You should feel empowered.
Bible against you. They can't use Jesus. They can't say God says this, which was very evident. Like there's a whole book on the market called "If You See the Buddha on the Road, Kill It." What it's saying, true Buddha wouldn't tell you he's Buddha. So if someone's saying God told me this, and it's something unethical, illegal, or immoral, or painful to anyone else or yourself, don't do it. That's not a holy roller. That's not a good witch.
No, or a good Christian or a good Jew or a good anything else. It's a bad person.
Guru, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
So whatever that is. So and going again back into matchmaking and stuff, you are the matchmaker of the world, but I know that I do things like, it's going to put on a glamour. You want to go outside and you're in your worst sweats and you're going to run into your ex or something energetically. Do you use that kind of magic? Because I know you work with your people really when they come to you for love.
I want to build their aura stronger. So I go on the aura-based system. So I'm like, when you're magnetic, as you know, your aura will do the work for you. Mm-hmm. So less is more. Don't speak, don't talk. I always have this expression for females, he who talks versus male. So don't talk. Let him do the work come towards you. You're the receiver, he's the giver. And what happens is if you change roles and you become masculine energy, which is alpha, then the beta is attracted to you, which you don't want a beta man. 90% of women want an alpha man. They want someone equal or stronger. So let the aura do the work. So the true way to reinforce the aura, besides affirmations, meditation, subliminal, is to be still. A woman is most potent when she's in her divine stillness of femininity. So go outside, exercise, put your sweats on, go to Erewhon or Whole Foods, wherever you live in the United States. Erewhon's our favorite little gourmet health food store where all the hotties go. Yeah. And you put that sweatsuit on, you let your cheeks glow. You've already run the endorphins, so you're feeling good, and you don't care about your hair and what you look like. That's generally when he comes forward, because the aura is so powerful. People go, I look like crap when I met my husband. Yeah, your aura was doing the work for you.
Yeah, oh, that's really good because I looked horrible when I met my husband. I was in a way, I had a different production company.
I don't think you could ever look
No,
horrible.
I was in bad sweats and I was going to, it was like an award show at the Hollywood Roosevelt, someplace really nice. I had two different business partners and I was fighting with them and I was dating this guy and he said, you have to go with your business partners. And I was standing my ground going, I am done with you. I am done with them. And I was going to think, so I looked like bloody hell, but you're right. My aura took, and we went in and I was sitting with this guy I was tired of and my partners I was tired of. And I sat down to this other guy, which is now my husband 20 years later.
That is textbook, what you just said.
Really?
So, yes, because when you're doing your jam, your thing, whether it's work or working out or going out with your girlfriends, you're not focused on hunting. Because if you're a feminine energy female, you shouldn't hunt, you should attract. There's a big difference. So hunting is masculine. I'm going to these 3 places tonight. I'm going to find a man. I'm going to get laid. I'm going to this. And I'm going, that's not your husband. That's just a body that you're using for gratification. Sorry, I have a little bit of an allergy attack. So if I clear my throat, I apologize. When you're not hunting, you're receiving, you're attracting, you're pulling it in. So being in your divine, your goddess energy, is what the secret sauce is. Like, if you look at Athena or you look at Venus, which is an Aphrodite, they're all my favorites. Athena's wise, right? She's wisdom. She knows not to hunt. Venus and Aphrodite, which are either or, depending on which, religion you believe in, the Greeks or the Romans, yeah. She was the goddess of love that just knew internally who she was, and that beauty radiated out. So if you watch on the street, I love looking at people. This is my favorite exercise. Start looking at people who in your circles. You could read it in the news. You could see it at the grocery store. You can see it at the gym. You see that unattractive woman with that hot, sexy guy who's doting on her. Every day, look for one couple. What the secret sauce is, she's confident in her own skin. And she knows she's the goddess. She knows that he's not going to stray. He's not going to look somewhere else. He's not going to not be a man to her feminine, her masculine to her feminine. And when she knows that, that's when the energy rises up and the vibration is so high that it only signals the high vibratory man. So when you're in a low frequency and my yoga instructor, Kirsten, she always says those are root chakra people. You don't want root chakra. Root chakra is like mundane, superficial, shallow. You want the high vibratory man who's going, I recognize you. Come with me, goddess, and I will give you the world.
That is beautiful.
That's your goddess, basically. Yeah, it's like the Zeus, but in a way that's loving and nurturing. So there's a softness to him, even though he's a man, but he's still leading you. And it's not like you're not a slave. It's not like you're a follower slave. It's more like he will protect, he will provide, he will give to you and make it safe. A safe haven. That's God. That's a true masculine energy of the highest vibratory level. Yeah, right. God. It's God energy. When we talk about God, religious doesn't have to be whatever religion. It just means that a high vibratory, loving, unconditional love.
Right, and they are out there. So, and that is true. And you do.
Yeah, we don't want anyone to think they're not. Like I had. Can I tell a quick story?
Oh, please. This is your time. Yeah.
I was going to call you anyway as my coach and tell you this. So I was starting to study human design. I like systems. I'm an astrologer by trade. I was a psychic for 10 years in Florida. So, and I ran the Kenny Kingston Psychic Network. So I love systems, but I usually find a flaw in the system, as we've talked about, and then I throw it away. And I only take what I like and I give the rest back. So yesterday, I was getting a human design reading. And if you're anybody who knows human design, I'm a projector, which means I'm the guide to the universe. I'm more of the psychic. I'm the planner. I'm not supposed to work. I'm supposed to tell the generators and the manifesting generators to do their thing. So the girl comes in. She's had a really bad week or so. Her son died. He killed himself. So it wasn't a good time to do the reading, but she begged me. She needed to take her mind off of it. So I said, okay, great. She gets into an argument with me because she starts telling me from the reading what my life has been like. And I'm pretty old, so I have enough to go, no, that's not me. And she said something that triggered me. Now, in law of attraction, Lacey Phillips is a great coach for those who want to go on YouTube and check her out. She's the Goop Law of Attraction coach. She says you get tested and triggered. So I got tested and triggered yesterday. So this is the statement that she made. It's not your time to find love, otherwise it would be here. It's not your time. And I said, who the fuck are you to tell me it's not for love? Now, I'm old and wise. So for anybody listening that's young and a kid, they're going to be like, download it. Because I get DMs all day long. The psychic said, I'll never get married. The psychic said, I'm only going to attract cheaters. The psychic says, you know, we have that, give me the, you know, we talk about the gypsies, give me the money and I'll burn the back and the 5,000. Don't ever do that, by the way. So she said, and I said to her in a statement, who are you to decide my fate? I got pissed when I got off and I go, fuck you. Now I'm going to find the man even more. And usually when I make a decision to do something like I did with Millionaire, somebody told me I'll never own a company where I cater to millionaires in the dating industry. And I go, watch me. Someone said, you'll never get a TV show. I go, watch me. So when I get mad, it's fuel to me. I don't hurt anyone, but I internally channel it. And I basically go, I'm going to do it. And so I was having a bad few days. I called you. You're like, are you doing this? Because we have rituals we have to do every day to come in. And I had homework assignments, which you're big on homework. So big on homework. So I said, I got to call Patti because I wouldn't let that. Now that I know who I am, if I was 20 and I had this wisdom, you'd be so powerful. I didn't have this wisdom at that age, where I don't let people into my energy field and I push it out and I take that energy and I recharge it to make shit happen. So I got tested just like anybody else.
So that's good. So you got tested and anybody else. So if you go into that screw you thing, that's good. That's all part of this whole month-long magic. That's how it happens. That's how it happens. We had to go for shift. We have to go for shift with everything. Even when you said something had slowed down, I go, that's good. It means it shifted. It changed. Even if it looks like it's a negative.
He's drinking, but he's not moving. So I decided to, I changed the game. I'm giving him Red Bull today. I'm giving her.
Wow. Okay.
She needs to, I was like, enough of the alcohol. This is making you slow. We're going to go to, I'm changing the drink as I go.
That's good. Yeah. I think that's good. And she will let you know. That is amazing. So what do you think? I love that about men speak first and all that. You know, that's so hard for a lot of modern women.
A lot of the feminists. I'm not a feminist for equal pay for the work. If not more, because we multitask. We should get more money than the men. We are worth twice as much. They're one, you know? But I'm not the feminist that I want my car door open. I want you to make a reservation. I want you to plan the date. I want you to be a man. Now, here's what happens. The feminists are now ruining it for the women who want that masculine energy. So the men say, oh, she paid half. She didn't like her car door open or the restaurant door open. She didn't want me to make the plans. And then you get on like Clubhouse with these 20-year-olds. I have a Tuesday night every 7, and we're going to bring you on a 7 o'clock Clubhouse. Every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, I have a Clubhouse. So they'll come in and they'll go, well, I like that kind of control. I said, you're not going to like it when you're 40 and you have 2 kids and you're fucking exhausted from work and you want him to pick up his clothes and do his laundry and take the trash out. You create, you're creating mother-son energy when you do that. Not, wife-husband energy.
Yeah.
So they're ruining it and they're making it like it's bad news bears to want to be nurtured, cherished, and taken care of, which is wrong because a man only feels good when he does good. So if you take his job away, he doesn't feel good. And then he complains to you and he becomes your couch potato living in the basement, smoke-pocking son. You know what I mean? You don't want that guy. He's going to be lazy.
And you're right. We are very different. That if we go into the hunter-gatherer thing or their focus versus our multitask.
We don't talk about the biology. The brain is wired that way. The men's corpus callosum is this big. The women's is this big. We process, think, feel, and do, and we use both sides of the brain. They only use one side. And they're like dogs. They're like Pavlov's dogs. You got to train them. You got to curb them. Hey, no, I'm not having sex with you unless you get monogamy. Now back the fuck off. Who the fuck are you? You got to do it like a dog. Hey, get off that couch. Stop that steak. You got to do that to them. They got to be trained. And nobody realizes this because women come really ready-made. We are smarter than them. They've done studies on this. In the Israeli army, the ones that are the best soldiers are females because they're better with strategy. You know, we're talking about science here. And you have estrogen in your body, probably up to 53, let's say. That's the average age of menopause. When you get estrogen in your body, you can bond to a loser because that is the chemical drug that produces oxytocin when the two of you come together. You have one shitty night in bed, not even an orgasm, you're still bonding. And then you want him. Then you're stalking his house at 2 o'clock in the morning, bringing him chocolate chip cookies. Yeah. Seriously. So you have to realize this is science. It's biology. I didn't create mankind. This is the way it is.
So what do you suggest people do? Again, there's all these young girls, not young girls, everybody out there going, okay, I've obviously done something wrong. And then you do. They go out with desperation and that's not going to do it. They go, or there's one, I love what you said about the unattractive, unput together girl with the hottie. Every day you see that. And then you see some gorgeous, well put together girl, not just physical, inside, outside. And she can't get anybody. She doesn't get anybody. I will as soon as I lose that 2 pounds, or I will as soon as I.
Okay, so LA has a very strong current of insecurity. It's what Marissa Peer talks about. I'm not enough. That's her whole platform. Major hypnotherapist, one of my best friends on YouTube. You can check her out, from Britain. And she goes, I'm not enough. Now, who better than LA with actresses, models, directors, producers? I'm not enough. I'm not young enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. And I'm. So you get off the plane from LA. And if you're very psychically sensitive like I am, there's a lot of sensitive people out there. They're like, I don't know what's going on here. I have such anxiety. And more people here on antidepressants. They're suicidal. They've got therapists on the clock 24/7. And we are talking not just actors, we're talking regular Joes. So, I always say everywhere in America, third date is pizza and a movie. In LA, it's therapy. I always used to say that because it's so true. Now you get off to Miami and it's, namaste, let's, we'll eat dinner at 11, you're older, I'm Latin, I love older women. There's a whole different energy because it's very European. You come here and it's like, once you hit 30, it's like Logan's Run, for those who remember Logan's Run. Logan's Run was a science fiction movie. You turned 30 and they annihilated you because the society to stay young. And it's like, you can't do this. You have to learn, as Neville Goddard says, the father of law of attraction, you got to push it out. Because when you push it out and you leave it out, your inner world becomes more important than your outer world. You want to live in your inner world. You want to live in your belief system of the possibility that it can happen. So when I have a bad, shitty day like I did yesterday, I shut the phones off, turned the television off, went into meditation, did my candle work, and I just said, okay, no. And I needed a focal point. So I said, I'll watch my favorite TV show, which just came on. It's the last season. It's called Doctor from Australia. It's called The Heart Guy in the United States. And I love Roger Corger. I have a little crush on him. So I go, I'm going to go into my inner world with Roger Corger, number 2, because he's married.
And too bad. I was going to say, is he single?
It's not. I'm going to visualize. He's in Glitch. He's the hot guy in Glitch. I'm going to visualize like me with my man and push her out, because her statement, even though I was pissed off and it was like vibrating like this, I had to get rid of it. I had to clean myself up. And by the end of the day, I was fine. I was laughing and giggling, and I didn't even remember I had the phone call. So you have to do the work. You can't just let it dwell on you. No. And on Clubhouse, the number one complaint I have is stop complaining. So I'll have like a girl call up and she'll tell me her backstory. And I go, I don't want to know your backstory. I just want to know, what do you want? What's your question? And she can't understand that because women are taught to vent. So she's like, I need to vent. I said, don't vent to me, vent to someone else. We only have an hour, got other people waiting with questions. And if you learn to stop complaining, dating is the same way too.
Don't let anybody run your life except you.
But I mean, if you need to talk to someone, talk to a wise old owl who's on the street, who can show you the way, and is not going to, they care about you. They want to see you succeed. They're not jealous of what you have. They don't want to bring you down to their dirty level. Make sure their life is prosperous in the area that you want to be in. Like Dr. Phil says, you want to go to the coach that won the Olympics if you want to try to win the Olympics. Like you got the person who's already resonating. You're in a happy marriage. I went to you to learn how to push my love up because I need some help too. I'm not perfect.
We all do. We all need help. I need help in areas. We all have to do it. And that is a really good point. So many people, and we do need help. We all need help, and we all need mentors and teachers and coaches. But so many I see, like they're a health coach, or they consider themselves a medical intuitive, and they are the least healthiest person you've ever seen. They smoke, they drink, they're 40 pounds overweight. It's like,
go to Whole Foods. Why are the vegans so fat? I don't get that. So when you're looking for the coach, it's okay to say no after you've had a session, or like yesterday, I didn't like her. She didn't resonate with me. She was very angry. She refunded the money. I'm going to refund your money. I said, good, because you don't. If she said one statement that I knew wasn't me, and that's how you know you're in the wrong place. She said, you're a free spirit. I said, no, I'm not. I'm very grounded. I don't like spontaneity. I like to plan. I was always the home before curfew, wanted to come home and be safe. Like, I'm the least risky person there is. And she kept saying, well, that's not what your chart said. I'm like, well, your chart is your chart. This is my life. I know who I am. And she argued with me. You know your life better than they do.
Yeah.
So if someone says you're this and you're not that, get out. She's not reading you right. This isn't a good reading for you.
Right, exactly. And again, they might be perfect for somebody else. Who's to say? It's just that chemistry, just like in love, the chemistry in people that you work with in whatever form.
It's like when you go to the doctor, you don't go to the first doctor. You may not like them.
Yeah. So let's talk about dating for one second. I love this, and I love where we're going with this. So often dating our food. I do a lot with food magic and have magic in food. How magic is? You didn't know that?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Because again, food has, just like you have the apothecary you were talking about, the herb does this and that herb does that and the other does. Food is the same thing. Like red foods are bringing love, and anything with cinnamon or spicy things bring passion. Yes, don't cut parsley because it's just not good for love. Don't ever cut parsley. Basil.
Here's something weird. I made wedding soup yesterday. The Mapupo wedding soup, the Italian version. And I was going to put parsley to decorate it. And I put it back in the refrigerator and I didn't use it. Holy shit.
Good. See, you know it.
If the recipe needed parsley, what would you have done?
You rip it. You rip it. You can rip it. You can't cut parsley.
Holy shit. I put it back in the refrigerator.
See, you're as intuitive as me as anybody on the planet.
Called for it in the recipe, even called for it in the meatballs, and I didn't do it.
So that's good. So maybe you just didn't need parsley altogether. But certain things like basil will soften things. Basil will stop arguments. So remember that you're in a cranky with something. Let's go have little mozzarella and tomato and basil slices on it. And in dating, just whatever, that's our culture we've created. So often dates and first dates are over meals. How magic do you think that is? Or do you take that into your...
There's the aphrodisiac side of the business. I think like when you eat an oyster, yes, it's going to increase your libido. Chocolate, obviously. Well, alcohol is going to calm you down. Champagne isn't going to amp you like tequila. It's going to calm you down. So you might get sleepy actually from wine or tequila. But I do believe the aphrodisiac foods, cinnamon, vanilla. So the rule is that men, in order to increase libido and blood flow, lavender, cinnamon, vanilla, all mixed together, and pumpkin pie as the last ingredient, the pumpkin pie spice. You put it all together. You put a little, base oil. You can use coconut oil. You can use olive oil. You could use any oil. And you shake it up and you dab it on your pulse points. It'll be catnip to him because they've done scientific studies on that. Yeah. You need pure vanilla, pumpkin pie, a little cinnamon, even though cinnamon's sometimes in the pumpkin pie, and lavender. Just mix it all together. It'll make him go crazy.
That's fabulous. That, again, witchcraft at its purest. You don't think...
Pheromone fragrance. I work with Eye of Love, the company. I have talked about them constantly. They're a small little company, but their fragrances work because they're pheromone based on science. It's not like, hey, I just said, oh, this is great. Citrus is great. Let's slap a label on it and make a fragrance. These were tested. And there's gay as well as straight in their company, which is also nice.
That's great. What's their name?
Eye of Love.
Eye of Love.
EYE of love.com.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and again, it is science, and science and magic or spiritual are coming together closer and closer every second into quantum and quantum manic. I make oils and things too, and I don't have the testing to know what of the science, but I will know something naturally, and then I will look it up and find that the science matches completely.
There's also ways to spray it. You know, you can do a spray. I like a roll-on because I feel it stays more than the spray. But you can buy those roll-on bottles online, like at Etsy or whatever, or at the drugstore, and you roll it on and you shake it and you put it on your pulse points. And then if you feel it's gone away, you just keep reinforcing it, you know, because it'll seep in. But like, for instance, they tell you to put coconut on your vagina. That's another thing. And that draws him to you too. And then, of course, if you eat pineapple, his, you know what, tastes better.
That's good to know. I didn't know all that. I just didn't.
These are all aphrodisiacs because your scent is the neurotransmitter in his brain. So he has to smell in order to come forward. It's very much like animals in the wild. And then your scent also triggers him, but vice versa happens. And so when you are one, you usually like each other's smell. If you don't, you can't go there. You can't have sex with them. The Karma Sutra talks about that. You know, they talk about, you know, raising the serpent chakra and being in the divine. I was engaged to this man, and on our second or third date, I went out of my body when we made love. I got monogamy, so nobody yell at me about that, because he asked me to marry him on the second date. Wow. And my parents got married on the second date too. So it was kind of like they were engaged. So I thought it was okay to do that. And we spiraled out. I saw myself looking down. He threw me out the window. We were in Miami. He opened the window to the ocean, and I was turning blue to get the air back in my body.
Wow.
And because we were in divine energy of loving each other equally at the same time. It wasn't one person loving the other person, and we went out of our body. We did not plan this. We did not try this. It was accidental. I don't even know if I could do it again. But the point of the matter was the vibratory frequency of the two of us was so karmic and so Karma Sutra. If you look up the Karma Sutra, they talk about the divine. And most of their stuff is staying still. The mirror exercise, looking each other in the mirror, or the petting exercise where you don't touch the genitals.
Yeah.
You go crazy when you do. So there's a lot of that. But before that, the woman dresses a certain way. She puts fragrance on. She paints her face. She, you know, wears a certain colors, like red. I am a big believer that men are attracted to red.
Yes.
Okay. This has been scientifically proven. Yet alone, it's still the color of the witchcraft for love. You know, pink might be a little bit less, where it's more quieter. It's not as lustful.
Yeah. You know, love without all the passion. Passion goes into the sex. Yeah.
So I mix the pink and the red together to get the balance. But I will tell you, if you wear red and you're in a restaurant, he will come right over to you. I've seen it every single time.
And then you smell like pumpkin and vanilla and cinnamon. I'm just digging that.
For Christmas.
Well, now will that will that attract females, whether you're just friends or if you are a girl who wants a girl?
The red attracts, well, I think lesbians also have the same thing. Their vibratory colors are like green and blue and red, but red is like goes all the way around. And then I feel like the next step would be to cook. So I'm a big fan of like cooking, like a roast chicken. We always joke in the Jewish religion that a roast chicken gets you engaged. Like Ina Garda has literally an engagement roast chicken online you can follow. And my favorite chicken is from Courtney Cox. She makes a chicken with leeks. That is to die. She changes the temperature. She starts at 425 and she goes down to 350, and the chicken becomes moist and tender. And when a man eats this, he like sees you as the total package because you look beautiful, sex is great, I have a good time with you, but now you can cook. It's through his stomach that he falls in love. And they say that Meghan Markle got Harry through a roast chicken from Whole Foods.
Really? Wow.
So it's very traditional in the Jewish religion to cook for your man and make a chicken. And there's something about, it's not a steak. You can make a steak later. There's something about the chicken that represents home. Probably his mother made chicken when he was younger. It's triggering good memories of family, you know, and that he wants to feel like you're going to be a great wife and a mother to his kids.
Right. And there probably is something in chicken, like chicken soup. Chicken soup makes you feel better. There's probably some magic in chicken anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the penicillin in it. You know, when I had COVID, it was like the thing that cured me, the bone broth, chicken bone broth. I was like death's door, and that was the thing that kicked it out. So there is that. But there is this, like, even if I didn't have a good mother and I didn't have good meals and my mom wasn't home, or my mom was absent or she's died, I want to feel that Norman Rockwell experience.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that experience, like the turkey and the chicken in the house. So it's kind of like that smells and everything just draws him in. It's crazy like that. And if it's a man, you would probably use sweets to draw her in. Yeah. Sweet. Anything always. Would go cupcaking. You know, she would eat chocolate. You know, she would do pies. Like she would. A woman would want sweets. I'm a salt person. You'd have to lure me with potato chips and sour cream.
Really? I'll take the chocolate. I'll take the sweets.
Yeah, I'm a salt. Yeah.
I love that. And so funny because my husband, how I guess I apparently met correct when I was doing a whole other thing. First time he came, our first date, he came over to my house, and because I'm a good witch and I'm bad at everything else. In high school, I won Betty Crocker Future Homemaker of America. Wow. But again, I can't boil water. I've also been on Master Chef. And I've cooked for Gordon Ramsay.
Master Chef and you can't boil water? Wait, oh my God.
I'm a good witch. I know magic.
Gordon kill you?
Oh, he's afraid of ghosts. Gordon's is great.
She's so British. That's why they're all so.
We were, in the Master Chef kitchen. This is my little thing is breaking odds and showing that how magic and positive magic work. My first one is because I was supposed to be dead or sick, and I'm like, screw that. So I tried out for Wipeout. I beat like 80, 100,000 people to do the big balls. I did Wipeout. And screw you, I'm not going to be dead or in a wheelchair at 50. And then I'm like, oh, this was fun. What can I do? Okay, everyone won't let me in the kitchen. I'm going to cook for Gordon Ramsay. Next thing I know, I beat another 80, 100,000 people, and I'm cooking for Gordon Ramsay, Joe Bastianich, Graham, and sweat's dripping down his head. He was so scared. I made Aristosis, son of Apollo, love pasta, actually. And then...
I do believe like the herbs, because they talk about the herbs, rosemary and thyme and things like that. And, that's like the elixir of love. They talk about that. You could Google all this stuff. You don't really need to rely on, unless you and I want to make a cookbook. But there are man catcher meals with herbs in it that can keep your man loyal. That's a big witch thing. I mean, if you go online, number one spell is how to make your man not stray. I love that. So there are that, and it's always food that they have to feed them,
It is, because the same thing that I'm, so confident burning in my cauldron and my herbs and oils and putting in poppets and special things you do with food, and food goes into the body. Food is there. So that's magic. So, so I like beating odds. And then I did it with America again. Okay, what am I really not right for? America's Got Talent. I have no talent. So next thing I know, I'm rolling around on the floor with Howie Mandel at the door. I'm a good witch. So you remember that. My magic works. But anyway, I wasn't.
Shows your magic must work, because that ain't no easy feat. Because I know I cast that in my own show, so I know how hard that is. That's great. Congratulations. It's
stuff you talk about. It's that confidence, that knowledge. It's that screw it, just give it.
A lot of the successful women over 40 come to me and they go, I make money and I can't manifest love, and I don't know what's wrong with me. And when you go back in time, there was a decision they made, which is the mind only knows what's real, So the mind doesn't know whether or not, if you were gonna change the belief system, the mind would accept it. But the mind doesn't know that you were one way. They only know what you tell it. So if you made a decision in time back in high school and Johnny broke your heart, and Johnny was a football player, and you go, I'm never going to date athletes. I'm never going to date guys with dark hair. I'm never going to date guys whose parents are divorced. I'm never going to, never. And the list is to the floor. You just cancel that 85% of the population. So then what happens is, no matter where you go, you attract the asshole, the one that you didn't want, that hurt you back in high school. Because you're dwelling on the fact that you're keeping the resistance and pushing it away. The resistance is what doesn't allow it in. If you didn't say, I'm never going to never, and you just said, okay, thank you, God, that wasn't a good experience, but let's move on and get a better one. And you downloaded, at least he was handsome. At least he was courteous and opened my car door. At least his parents, treated me like gold. Like whatever came out of it that was positive, and you dwelled on the positive, not the negative, at such an early age, which is where the fundamental, the foundation is set. You wouldn't have had this trajectory. So it's not about whether you're successful or you're rich or poor. It's what did you decide when I had a terrible childhood. I was adopted. My mom was married 3 times. Like, I should be on the streets hooking right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of I once had a therapist tell me that from what I went through. But I didn't go to the negative place all the time. Now, the thing was, Marissa took me back in time on a hypnotherapy session, which was very fascinating. When I was 11, my father said, he was drunk, he was an alcoholic, and he made bad business decisions. And he points to me, he goes, you made me lose all my money. I was 11, I took it in. Every guy I ever dated had financial problems, tried to live off of me, couldn't make it in life, yet they had college education and good families. And I was like, what the, like, if there's one guy in the room. When I was in Florida, I had a boyfriend known as catnip sex. In my book, Become Your Own Matchmaker, you'll read about that. And amazing sex. He walks into the event I'm running for Great Expectations when I ran the company. And he's dressed in a Xenia suit, and he has Bruno Mali's shoes on, and he's wearing a Breitling watch. And he was gorgeous, like Richard Gere. And all my friends are like, oh my God, he's staring at you, he's gorgeous, is this? I'm like, he has financial problems. Like, how do you know that? I just knew. 3 days later, he told me the truth. He moved to Florida. His parents are supporting him. He has no money. He lives in their house. It's like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? When I found out I had made that decision, I was 11, because it's subconscious. I had to remove it. Now I don't attract men who don't have money. And so when you make the decision to undo the decision you made, and you do the work on it, and you don't get angry, you don't get pissed at God for sending, like, it takes a little bumpy ride till you get to the good place, but you're like, God, fuck you for sending me an asshole who's cheap with me. And then every time another one shows up. But if you said, hey, God, that was really nice that somebody asked me out, but he's not my type because he doesn't have money. How about we send somebody with money? The way I respond to it is the way the next one shows up, but nobody knows this.
Right.
They think something's wrong with me. I'm cursed. My favorite line is, I'm cursed. And I made a decision, and that decision changed everything for you.
Everything.
Because not one person comes in and said, I had a perfect childhood, I had a great guy all my life, and I can't seem to attract now. That never happens. It could be something late in life. It could be like in your 50s, like something bad happened, and now you're only attracting X. Yeah. But you've got to undo the belief system, change the subconscious, create a new belief system. And then how do you create a belief system that you believe? This is my biggest thing, which we talk about. You have to have evidence to believe, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't look at the evidence. You're going to say, well, I always attract that. How can I attract the new one? And the only way to do that is with work. It's affirmations, saying the mantra over and over in your mind all day long, when you sleep, when you wake up. Yep. It's visualizing with feeling. It's saying, I love my signs of land thing. I always say, show me signs of land, give me evidence. So I was studying with Abraham since 1989, and I didn't like her anymore. She read me in the hot seat on YouTube, and Esther said, she couldn't figure out why I didn't have love. She kept saying, you have to stop your job in order to get love, which was not it. When you feel the resonance of something wrong and untrue, you know it's untrue. I said, that's crazy. Matchmaking is like breathing to me. Even if I didn't get money, I'd still fix up the world. That's just who I am naturally. Oh, you belong with this person. And I have to do it. It's like innate. It's like breathing. So I said, you're wrong. I stopped going to her. And the new law of attraction coaches are much younger in the market, and they don't believe you can't be negative to get what you want. They also they also said you don't have to believe it to get what you want. It's faster, but it's not necessarily that way. So I said, universe, show me an example. So Marisol Patton, who was on the Housewives of Miami, was in a really dark place in love. She had a terrible boyfriend, and she was getting over it. COVID came. She went to her gay friend's house to swim in their pool every day. They were selling the house, this couple. She left her red bathing suit inside the house. And the guy who bought the house closed, saw the red bathing suit, said to the couple, whose bathing suit is this? And they said, this is Marisol's. She's single, you're single, you guys should meet. They meet, day one, click, major love, fell in. This is COVID, at the height of the worst part of COVID. This is when we were sequestered. And she goes off with him, inseparable, 6 months later, married. And so this is the part I'm going to give you the secret to this. I said, you were in the worst possible place. And she's a metaphysician like me. She goes to Santero. She's, Latin culture. And she says, I said, how did you manifest from such a low frequency? And she said, honestly, I'll tell you how. There was a crack in the ceiling. And the crack in the ceiling was my mom died not too long before. And she promised me when she dies, she'll send me love.
There's your crack.
In the back of her mind, even though she was depressed, she was drinking, she was bumming, slumming, not having anything to do every day because we were in COVID. And she was just miserable, wallowing in her self-pity. But there was a crack in the ceiling.
And cracks can be great. They let in the light.
Molly Sims, which I'm going to show this week, she talked about it. She said, I was in a really bad place when my husband asked me out, who's third at Netflix. He was married and he was in a bad place. He gets divorced. He asked her, she says, no, I'm leaving LA. This place sucks. Men suck. I hate this place. But she had a crack in the ceiling that she could find love, but not in LA, outside LA. So there was always the possibility. She just didn't know, like when this guy showed up, he was married. She didn't know that was her husband. So if you have a crack in your ceiling, generally speaking, you could break open the crack and then the energy will come down.
I like that. That and leave your red bathing suit in the house. No.
House, because you never know who's going to find it. Right?
You never know who's going to find it. That is brilliant. I love it. Magic is everywhere, you guys. And everything you're saying fits into how I work. Your basic old school mind, body, spirit philosophy that 20,000 books are written about it. If you take that into witchcraft, it's creation working dispatch. Creation is like, oh, I want love. I want this. That's like the mind part. The body part is that I am doing the working. I'm hurting the herbs, the candles, whatever. And the spirit is the dispatch or the magic that you put behind it. Everything is ties together. You just got to do it, see it, think it, feel it, believe it.
And the thing is, you should do it as a practice. Like I say a prayer every night to protect myself from certain things. I don't go to bed without that. I've woken up in the middle of the night and said, shit, I forgot to say my prayer. And then I go back and say it. So, and I say it out loud. That's another thing. Say it out loud
is good. Out loud.
Knowing the angels and the unemployed angels with that for protection besides the Almighty himself. But the bottom line is I have my rituals that I do, like brushing my teeth every day, that just are on autopilot because I'm used to that. It makes me feel good. I won't get on an airplane without protecting my bags or the plane itself. Like there's little things I do.
And ritual's great. Yeah.
Right. So having your little ritual because you enjoy it, it makes you feel good and you raise your vibration is really what you're trying to do to create the auric field so it's stronger and draws in only those that are like-minded. Because you want to be with you want to be with your soul group. You don't want to be with people who are opposite you to the extent that they could tear you down because they're jealous. There's a lot of jealousy in the world.
A lot of jealousy, or that they're lead ballooning you and they're pulling you and all your magic down. How do you feel about you afterwards?
They're psychic vampires, they're draining you, or they're jealous. It's one of the two. So if you want to be protected, rituals are very important to me. Just like, lighting the candles on Shabbat or, going light a candle in a church, whatever is your jam. You got to find your jam. Nobody's going to tell you what it is. You have to find it. It will raise your vibration to a high frequency. Now, it may not come in the next day. I do believe in the Akashic records. I do believe, when they say when NDEs die, their life passes before them and they come back. You've told us this. So this is a truth. This is where they say that the Akashic records live at the Galactic Center, and it's the hall of records of your past, present, and future lives and who you're going to meet. Now, that doesn't mean because you get to Earth and you remember Joe. You look at Joe and you go, oh my God, love at first sight. He's the guy. And Joe goes, who are you? I'm with Mary. I don't know you. And you're like, wait, Joe, it's me. Like Ashley Anacati and Jared from The Bachelor. Okay. She was on my show. She knew Jared was the one. Jared didn't know. And I said to her, the minute you start dating somebody else and you lose your fucking virginity, that new guy's going to come in. Sure enough, Jared came in the minute she was with Kevin. So like
Wow.
read vibration, I can see what's going on. But when you are looking at all this, when you're flying high like that, and you're in a high vibratory place, your soulmates come in, and there's more than one, by the way. It's not just one. I don't know why everybody does that stuff.
I don't either. I agree with you 100%.
It's karmic, but he or she may not recognize you, like the twin flame thing. She may or he may not recognize you. And you might have to say, you know what? This doesn't make me feel good. So you didn't recognize me. I'm going to go off and find someone to make me feel good. That's when the vibration of your soul rises and elevates, because this is a boundaries section. You don't like me, even though we made a contract on the other side to be in our soul group. And now you're off with someone who's not. Namaste. Have a nice life.
No, and we have to look at that. I do a lot of past life work too. I do regression with people. And what you were saying earlier, like, I'm never going to date and never, that goes into your records, kids. Be careful when you say never, ever about things.
Edgar Casey talks about your thoughts. He says, be aware of your thoughts, because you become what you think. You become what you think. It is so hard. But we as humans did not get the manual day one. We didn't go to school for this.
No.
There was spiritual Hogwarts that you can go to school and learn everything. I mean, you have the witch school, but most people don't have that.
Yeah, most people. But this is school. This life is school.
I mean, Earth is school. But like I'm saying, if you want to go to the witch school, you have a witch school.
I have a witch school.
Most people don't even know where to go. They think it's some airy-fairy thing that, J.K. Rowling made it. And it's like, truth of the matter, there are witches out there that are teaching you. You go to Salem, there's Lori Cabot, there's people all over the world. And you just got to find your frequency. Findhorn in Scotland, great place. Like, they're everywhere. Kabbalah, mysticism in Israel, and it goes on and on. But the point I'm making is that we didn't get the manual day one from our parents. Had we known that our thoughts create our reality and we could change our reality, half of us wouldn't do the shit we did. We wouldn't take drugs. We wouldn't have war.
We wouldn't have war. We wouldn't. We'd love ourselves more.
Each other, and because we know we got to come back and pay off that karmic debt, and that debt's expensive.
Exactly. All right. Oh my God. I could speak for days and days and days, but we do have to go. But you come back, because I haven't even asked you anything I want to ask you, and you're just so intriguing. I love you so much. But anyway, tell everybody, what do you have coming up?
Oh, well, I have a new book called The MillionaireExpert.com. It's the MillionaireExpert.com. And so you can register for it. It comes out August 17th and this year. And it's going to be a series from me, not just a book that you can read online, but it's a module series of videos where I'm going to teach you how to make $1 million in your underwear in the expertise that you're good at. So if you've been an expert and you've never gotten famous, you've never made a lot of money, you don't have a good brand, you don't have good products, I'm going to teach you how to do it, because that's what I did. I made $1 million in my first year in business as the Millionaire Matchmaker. And I'm going to teach you all the secrets of Hollywood and how to manifest money, so you never have to worry about money again.
So August 17th, everybody, August 17th.
Now, you can go in and register now, because we're in pre-sales right now. But you want to get in there early, because there's only limited of stuff that we're doing. And you want to get into, because we're going to have group webinars where I actually teach live. So you want to get in early so you can get into a group webinar. Yeah. That's
beautiful. Well, I cannot thank you enough. I cannot. So check out Patti everywhere. MillionairesClub123.com, PattiKnows.com, AttractingAsoulmate.com. Whether you're looking for love or you're looking to be the next expert of the world. Yes. Talk to Patti. She's the best.
Yeah, namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody for listening to The Witching Hour.